Hi, I'm John. Welcome back to the Contemplative Commuter. So today's thought is, how can I help you get your dream job? That's why I want to talk to and share some of my top tips. So again, what qualifies me for speaking about this subject? Well, I've been in a leadership management position for, the last 10, 11 years. So I spend a lot of my time interviewing people, building assessment centres, looking through piles of CVs for people who might want to join my team or other teams in the organisation I work for. So I just wanted to share some of my tips, tricks, advice for those of you going for maybe your first job or a change of career, and what impresses me as an interviewer. So, first and foremost, and you'd be surprised at how many people don't actually do this very simple first step, and that is do your research on the place that you want to work and the kind of job you're applying for. So get on the company website, do as much Googling as you can, connect with people who already work at that organisation through LinkedIn. The more research you can do, the better prepared you are for when you actually sit down in front of someone and have that first interview. Remember, this is a big piece of advice. If you're actually sitting down with someone who's thinking of you, of bringing you into the organisation, you're already past so many hurdles. If you're being seen, they genuinely are thinking about you for that job. So don't let yourself down by not doing adequate research so you can have a really good conversation when you actually get in front of whoever's interviewing you. The second one, and it's related, show a little bit of passion for the job and the organisation. Again, it always surprises me that you get people who come along who look great on paper, but it feels like they're just going through the motions, that they don't really want to work in the environment that you're offering them or in the job role they've applied for. So if you can demonstrate some passion for the organisation and the job, you are halfway there. And it's really impressive for people who come across with that enthusiasm, with that desire to join a team. That really separates you out. So show some passion for the job you're going for or the company you're applying to. This brings me on to how else can you prepare for that interview. And what I'd say on this is practice, practice, practice. You can most job interviews now are set up around first stage, a competency-based interview, which will be questions focused around your experience in your previous jobs or your experience generally and how that ties to the job you're going for. So, top tips on this is think about the really positive experiences you've had at work over the last couple of years. Write them down in the following format. So lots of people have heard of the STAR format, which is thinking about a situation, the task that had to be done, what were the actions that were established to hitting that task or that situation, and what was the result. The icing on the cake is also being able to articulate what you learned through that experience. So write down as many positive experiences at work you can think about, maybe over the last 2 years. The reason I'm saying the last 2 years is I think most people or most interviewers' kind of spidey sense gets tingled when people either only come with examples from the last couple of weeks or only give examples from 5 years previous in their career. A 24-month kind of time frame gives adequate scope for things you've done recently and experiences that might be valuable to that company. I would also think about maybe things in your current role or experiences you've had over the last couple of years where things haven't gone so well. So everybody always comes into an interview being expected to ask about things they've succeeded in, but as an employer, we're also really keen to hear about failures and where things haven't gone so well. What did you learn from that experience, and how honest can you be through that? So really think on your examples from both a positive and negative aspect, and that will put you into the situation of being interviewed in a competency-based format as prepared as possible. I would also practice your answers. Don't over-rehearse, but practice your answers with a friend or with a loved one or with your spouse, so that you are as slick as possible without being too polished when you get into that interview situation. I would also say, when you are rehearsing and people slip into to this challenge, is really listen to the question the interviewer asks you and answer that question. Don't answer the question you wish they'd asked. And this is why I'm saying don't over rehearse too much, because then you try and force an answer to a question that hasn't actually been asked. So really listen to what the interviewer is asking you. So that's kind of my tips around that stage of when you're having a competency-based interview, what should you do? So just to recap, do your research, have a bit of passion and show that passion, sell yourself, prepare your answers in advance around competency-based questions. So think of your positive and negative experiences at work, put them into that star-based format. And my final piece of advice is think about the questions you're going to ask whoever is interviewing you. So I'm really looking for a sense of curiosity to come across from whoever I'm interviewing. And that's what lots of organisations are looking for at the moment. Someone who is curious, who has the ability to learn, who genuinely wants to look at what your challenges maybe as an organisation or a leader are at the moment, and maybe how they can help you solve some of those challenges. So think about the questions that you're going to ask at the end of being interviewed. It always happens that I'll wrap up a conversation with someone and I'll open it and say, is there anything you'd like to know? And they will say no and try and get out the room as quickly as possible, which is understandable, as interviews are quite stressful. But that's maybe what separates the good from the great, is people who come with some really well thought through questions, which brings us in a full loop. Those questions are quite easy to come up with if you've genuinely done your research. So there it is. There's 4 top tips to help you get the job you really want. I wish you the best of luck. Give me any feedback for this video. Was it helpful? I'll reply to any commentary. If you think it's useful, please share or subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all soon.